let's get right into it. Obviously, one of the major points that you've been making in your campaign is America's largest deportation effort ever. Now, we know that the government doesn't know where a million or millions of migrants are. We know some of these migrants in our country are protected under due process with a notice to appear.
Yep.
So how would you remove them, and how would you, as you say, use the National Guard in doing so?
Yeah, you're going to get local law enforcement. They know them very well. They know their names. They know their middle names. They know everything about them. The local police and the local officers and all local law enforcement in their community, they know everybody. They know the good ones, the bad ones. They know everything about them, and they're going to get them, and they're going to get them out. We have murderers in our country. We have drug dealers in our country. If you look at what Venezuela has sent, but it's not just South America, it's all over the world. They're coming in from Africa, they're coming in from the Congo, they're coming in from all parts of South America, but you know what? Less South America than people think. We have people coming in from the Middle East at numbers we've never seen. They're coming in from Asia, and it's not sustainable by us or by any country, and many of these people are up for murder. You know, they took out 13,099 people were released. The other day, it was just released as information, I guess from Border Patrol. I don't know who did it. Nobody knows who did it, but the official stats, it was never released before. Over 13,000 murderers, many of them with multiple murders, and they're now in our country. We have the drug dealers, the biggest drug dealers. We have terrorists. We have everybody. Like we're a dumping ground. They have to be removed. It's not sustainable by anybody. We're going to be working with the local police and local law enforcement. They know everything. They know things that nobody would even think about knowing, but we're going to let them do their job because, you know, they have not been allowed to do their job. And you have local communities right now all over this country that are petrified before the people even come in, and they're coming in. They're all coming in. They're petrified. And I can say what Kamala and Joe Biden have done to this country. There's never been anything done so bad by a president or by a vice president. She was the border czar, whether she likes it or not, and she was in charge of the border. There's never been anything like it. I had the best numbers in history. They have the worst numbers ever for any country, not just here, for any country. She was horrible. She's trying to make excuses now, but you can't. The damage has been done. You can't make excuses. We have to get the murderers, the drug dealers, we have to get them out of our country.
Now, speaking of the safety of our country, we have seen the Mexican cartel and we have seen smugglers targeting American law enforcement with weapons and with their tactics right now. For example, I just reported on 4 RPGs and 8 IEDs found in a Mexican scout site on the other side of the border in the Tucson sector. And then today we're talking about the Mexican cartels using drone jammers to intercept our drone capabilities and our surveillance technology. So how do you counter that? How do you keep American law enforcement safe and our border patrol safe? And how do you keep the weapons out of the hands of the cartel?
We need a military operation. What's happening, what you're just telling me, we need a military operation. These people have become military. They're very rich. They have a lot of money. They're among the richest people probably in the world. They're very rich and they're very evil. And people are dying at levels that nobody's ever seen from fentanyl poisoning, and it comes through the border, comes from China and through the border, and we're going to get it stopped. And whatever you need, if it's going to be military in addition to Texas, which has really done a good job, or the best of the jobs, but you take a look at Arizona, it's open, it's an open civ. You take a look at other places. I'm going to help New Mexico. New Mexico wants to do it, and they can't seem to do it because the Democrat politicians don't do it. And we're going to win New Mexico because of it. You know, you've seen the numbers. So we're going to have to get in some military action. And we're going to take, if we need military, look, they're killing 300,000 people a year. I think it's more than that. You know, they always say 100, 102. It's over 300,000 people are being killed from fentanyl and drugs that come over the border. We're going to do something about it. That's like having a big war. That's not like having a little war. You go to war, you don't lose that many people. In the Civil War, we lost 600,000 people. We're losing 300,000 people a year. We're not going to stand for it.
Now, when it comes to the situation in Washington, D.C. today, I'd be negligent as a reporter if I didn't ask you about this, Mr. President. Obviously, we know that Special Counsel Jack Smith had filed court documents calling your actions in the aftermath of the 2020 election, quote, a private criminal effort. Can you respond to that?
He's a deranged person. I call him deranged Jack Smith. He just lost the big documents case. That was the biggest of them all. They said the documents case, and they said that was the toughest of them all. Let me tell you, we just won it, and it was won strongly and completely, and it was a total victory in Florida. And he is a person who is trying, and he works for Kamala and he works for Joe. This was a weaponization of government, and that's why it was released 30 days before the election. And it's nothing new in there, by the way, nothing new. They rigged the election. I didn't rig the election. They rigged the election. What they do is they rig the election, and then they go around getting people and persecuting people and prosecuting people that did nothing wrong. They rigged the election. These are crooked people. Deranged Jack Smith is a prosecutor who was put there in order to screw up the election for the Republican Party. The people know it. I know it. Everybody knows it, and it's not going to happen. They should have never allowed the information to come before the public, but they did that because they want to hurt you with the election. Now, so far, and you know we've had great victories, but so far, what has happened is if you take a look at what they've done, the public doesn't buy it, and my poll numbers have gone up instead of down. It's pure election interference to get an incompetent person like Kamala. She's grossly incompetent. She's more incompetent than Biden to get these people elected. And the voters, they get it. They've read it, they get it. And it's already come out. Every single channel is calling it election interference. Ready? They rigged the election. The election was rigged. I didn't rig it, they did.
Now you talk about voters, and obviously that's the biggest part right now, right? Getting these voters. You're going back to Butler, Pennsylvania. July 13th, obviously, a gunman tried to take your life, Mr. President. Going back there this weekend, what kind of feelings, emotions does that elicit? And are you worried about safety, security concerns here this weekend?
Well, I'm always worried. I think that the White House isn't treating us very good. I get crowds that are 10 times bigger than anybody else, 20 times bigger than anybody else. And we're entitled to security. The White House makes it very difficult. We had something in Wisconsin last week. We would have had 60,000 people, but they couldn't provide us with the security. So we went from 60,000 people to a much smaller effort. And we had 40 or 50,000 people standing outside wanting to get into a little auditorium. No, it's very unfair the way we've been treated. And they have treated us pretty unfairly, I think. And we have to get better security. And it's really being led more so by the White House than anybody else. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Secret Service. I think they're doing a good job. But they're only allowed to do what the White House is letting them do. Now, I have to tell you that recently, and it was very interesting, they just approved more money for the Secret Service, and it was unanimous. It's the first unanimous vote I can remember in Congress. The Democrats voted for it, too. So they want to see safety. Everybody wants to see safety. I'm going back to Butler because I feel I have an obligation to go back to Butler. We never finished what we were supposed to do. And I said that day when I was shot, I said, we're coming back. We're going to come back. And I'm fulfilling a promise. I'm fulfilling really an obligation.
Can I take you back to the border really quick? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
sure, yeah.
Talking about safety, we've seen a record number of terrorists come across the border.
Yeah.
People with flags on the terrorist watch list. Southern border, northern border, it's happening. How do you prevent them from coming in, from stepping on U.S. soil? You know, you don't have a crystal ball. Some of these people that are let in, they're vetted. That commit crimes later. How do you prevent them from even getting here in the first place?
They're vetted and they're criminals, and we're letting people in without any vetting. They're not even vetting. They're not even asking who these people are, where they're from, what country. They're just letting them walk through open borders. What you do is you have to have strong borders. I had the best numbers we've ever had in the country, and it was 4 years ago. When I left, the week I left, we had the best numbers we've ever had. You've seen the famous chart. That's a famous chart that you know very well. You know probably as well as I do. Everyone knows it. And the reason that chart was on display was because that was the lowest point, and that was made by Border Patrol. That was the lowest number we've had for many, many decades, the lowest number. You need toughness, you need strength, you need walls, and we had the walls. You know, I built hundreds of miles of walls. I was going to add another 200, which is much more than I said I was going to do, by the way, but it was working so well. I was going to add another 100, and then another 100 on top of that, 200 miles. Would have taken 3 to 4 weeks to install. It was already there, ready to be put up. And they went out and sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. They didn't want it up. And that's when I realized they want open borders. These are open borders fanatics. If you have a wall and if you have good security, you can stop them from coming in very easily. The wall really worked. The wall, I built hundreds of miles, it worked. And we were adding to it. And after I assumed that they were going to throw it up. It would have taken them 3 weeks and you would have had a really secure border. And they ended up, really a lot of it, they sold for 5 cents on the dollar. Think of that one.
And some of that, Governor Greg Abbott actually ended up with, I believe, to build his own wall. Now, Tren de Aragua, that is a Venezuelan gang that is compared to the Mexican cartels, a very violent gang that is getting a footing across the United States. They're getting a pretty good foothold here in Texas as well. Now, Governor Greg Abbott did designate them as a terrorist organization. He's even creating databases to help identify these individuals. Now, would you adopt what Governor Abbott is doing? Would you take that over, or would you leave it up to the states to deal with these gangs that are already here?
He's doing a great job. He's really a great governor, and he's a friend of mine. He's been under siege with what's happening because this is a federal government job. They should never be allowed in. The federal government has the power to stop it, and all you have to do, really what you have to do if you're the president is say to the Border Patrol and to the states, nobody come in, it's closed. They keep saying about, they want to have a bill. I never had a bill. I said, we're closing our border. Then I got Mexico to do remain in Mexico, and I did all of the other things. I did 92 different orders. We had the best border ever. It can be done, and it can be done swiftly. The main thing is the president has to say, I want the border closed. When he says that, the border will close. They're not coming in. They won't be able to come in.
Now, sir, can I do that's the last one in?
Yeah.
Okay, so sir, obviously the Ohio controversy has been at the forefront for a while. Last night it was talked about again, a point of contention in the debate. Now these individuals in Ohio, these migrants from Haiti, these people living there from Haiti, do you consider them here legal or illegal, and would you revoke TPS status?
Which area are you talking about?
Let's say Springfield.
In Springfield, what's happening there is horrible. You have a beautiful community, 52,000 people, and about 30,000 people were put into that community rapidly, and the community is so nice and they want to be so politically correct. You have to remove the people. We cannot destroy our country. You had a beautiful, safe community. Everyone's in love with everybody. Everything was nice. It was like a picture community. And all of a sudden, in a short period of time, they have 32,000 more people in there. It doesn't work. It can't work. It has nothing to do with Haiti or anything else. It doesn't work. You have to remove the people and you have to bring them back to their own country. They are, in my opinion, it's not legal. It's not legal for anybody to do. It's not even on a human basis. It's not acceptable to the people that are there, and certainly to the people that are in Springfield. Springfield is such a beautiful place. Have you seen what's happened to it? It's been overrun. You can't do that to people. They have to be removed.
So you would revoke the temporary protected status?
Absolutely. I'd revoke it and I'd bring them back to their country.
What if they won't receive them
They
like
will.
they're not?
Well, they're going to receive them. They'll receive them. If I bring them back, they're going to receive them.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay,
I
treat it well.
appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.